Hello, I'm Sarah, and I am kicking off a new series that the Enneagram Dignity Project is doing, where we are going to be giving an Enneagram type crash course, where we will be briefly introducing all 9 types and giving just a very brief 5-minute video to kind of give you a taste of what that type looks like, which will be followed by Enneagram confessionals, where people who identify as the types we cover will share a little bit about their lived experience as that type. We're really excited about it, and so with that being said, I'm going to kick us off with going over type 1. And so today I will give you kind of a brief 5-minute crash course on type 1s, and then tomorrow we will have a type 1 share with you in the form of an Enneagram confessional. Okay, so type 1s. Type 1s are known as the perfectionist or the reformer. What type 1s might kind of say, their inner monologue is going to be, I want to get things right. That is kind of type 1's highest ideal. And basically this is coming from a place of not wanting to be bad or defective. That is a type 1's core fear. And this often gets presented to them in the form of their inner critic. All 9 types have an inner critic. That ones don't only have the inner critic by all means, but type 1s are going to be very familiar with an inner critic because it's a constant kind of nagging voice in their head that's constantly telling them areas in which they could and should be better. And this is going to be dialed up very high. The volume is going to be very loud on their inner critic, and that's going to be a voice that is constantly driving them to be better. And so that is a distinguishing factor for a type 1. Their motivation is to do what is right, correct what is wrong, and avoid criticism by being perfect. Now, this can look like different things. This might look like keeping the house very neat and organized. That might be what is right for a type 1, but this can also look like social justice for a type 1, or reaching their values or beliefs and following those ideals. Type 1s are very idealistic, and so, it's not necessarily going to be being neat and organized, although that can be true for some type 1s. But it's whatever it is that really matters to a type 1, that standard that they want to meet. Ultimately believing that it is their duty to leave the world a better place than when they found it. Type 1s are in the anger triad, and what you really need to know about that is that type 1s are very familiar with anger, although it often comes out in the form of resentment, and oftentimes that anger is pushed toward themselves, again in the form of that inner critic, and in this way of telling them ways they could be better. And so some stressors for type 1 are when things aren't perfect, when rules aren't being followed, when self or others aren't doing their best, or not having control. Those can all be very stressful situations for a type 1. Some words to describe a type 1 are responsible, moral, organized, hardworking, and careful. Type 1s really care. Type 1s are great at being the responsible, detail-oriented glue that really helps us all out sometimes. But type 1s can also be demanding, type A, sensitive, serious, controlling, critical, and self-righteous. Some relationship challenges for those who are in relationship with type 1s. Type 1s will push for perfection and constantly find fault. They find it with themselves more often than not, but sometimes they'll find it with others, and that can be a relational struggle. Taking responsibility for things that they don't need to, but then resenting it later. That might seep into your relationship with a type 1, and then needing to be right all the time because because type 1s are so fearful of being bad. They have this visceral need to be right. But type 1s are genuinely sincere in their efforts to make the world a better place. They have a strong moral compass. They are organized, reliable, and responsible. They are hard workers, and they think if a job is worth doing, it is worth doing right. That is a huge value for type 1. And then they have just this superpower for pinpointing things that could be better. They see the ideal and they want to help us all get there. So that is just a brief overview of a type 1. I know I didn't cover everything, but by all means, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an understanding of what type 1's lived experiences are and what they might look like. And then tomorrow we are going to have a type 1 share a bit more about their lived experience. So thank you for watching, and tune in to our Facebook page tomorrow. Thanks.